Why does Turning Red explain furries better than Zootopia? Zootopia is a buddy cop film created by Walt Disney Animation Studios. In a titular city where anthropomorphic animals coexist, it tells of the unlikely partnership between a buddy police officer and a fox con artist to discover the criminal conspiracy behind the disappearance of predators. Turning Red is a coming-of-age fantasy comedy film created by Pixar Animation Studios. Set in Toronto in 2002, it focuses on Mei Lin Mei Li, a 13-year-old Chinese-Canadian student who finds out that due to hereditary curse, can transform into a giant red panda whenever she has a strong emotion. Both movies are distributed by Disney. Both of these films feature anthropomorphic animals, but one shows a society filled with them, while the other shows a society full of humans. This impacts the way to describe furries in society. Zootopia focuses on a relationship between predator and prey, along with the discrimination that comes with it. Meanwhile, Turning Red focuses on the relationships a person who can transform into an animal has with the rest of society. While the plots of these movies are vastly different, there are a ton of similarities between them. At first, you may not see how Zootopia relates to furries. However, there is a deeper message behind this that's more important now than ever, and that is discrimination. It's a heavy topic that is hard to explain without heated discussion, and I'm surprised that Disney was able to do it so well in Zootopia. This wasn't the case when Pixar tried to pose parental relationships in Turning Red. The story follows Judy Hopps becoming a police officer for Zootopia. Despite being top of her class, Chief Bogo delegates her to parking duty and fails to recognize her talent. There are already signs of discrimination when the African buffalo Chief Bogo assigns rabbit Judy Hopps to parking duty. African buffalo are predators, while rabbits are prey. This comes up later with Nick Wilde. On the first day of the job, con artist duo Nick Wilde and Finnick Hustler. Later, Duke Weaselton steals a bag of crocus balls, and Judy abandons her post to arrest him, but is reprimanded by Bogo. Miss Otterton unexpectedly barges into Bogo's office, pleading for someone to find her husband, Emmett, one of the 14 missing animals. Judy volunteers, and the city's assistant mayor, Sheep Don Bellwether, praises the assignment. Bogo has no choice to agree, but secretly orders Judy to resign if she fails after 48 hours. Figuring out that Nick was the last to see Emmett, Judy blackmails him to help him by secretly recording his transaction of tax evasion. They track Emmett to a limousine owned by crime boss Mr. Big, an Arctic Shrew. He reveals that Emmett suddenly went savage, attacking Big Chef 4 in Manchester. The two visit Manchester, a black jaguar, and he says that Emmett yelled about the night howlers. He then turns savage and chases the pair. Judy traps her and calls CPD for help, but Manchester disappears before they arrive. Bogo demands Judy resign, but Nick reminds Bogo that Judy has 10 hours left. While leaving the scene, Nick reveals that he became a con artist because, as a child, he tried to join the Junior Raider Scouts, but was mistreated and rejected for just sitting a fox. Many people, furry or not, probably had a time when they were rejected for seemingly arbitrary reasons. For furries, it might have been a time before they joined the fandom, or after it. Either way, it's a sign of discrimination that exists throughout society, and how it can result people joining communities to get away from it. At City Hall, Bellwether offers Judy and Nick access to the Zootopia traffic cameras. They discover that Montrose is taken by wolves, and Judy hypothesizes that they're the night howlers. Following the wolves, they find Montrose and locate the other side predators imprisoned in the local asylum. Mayor Lionheart ordered their capture and is trying to figure out the cause of their behavior. Lionheart and the other asylum staff are soon arrested for false imprisonment, and Bellwether becomes the new mayor. Judy is praised for solving the case, asks Nick to join the ZPD to become a partner, but he angrily ejects her deal after a reporter shifts Judy into saying predator biology is behind the recent attack. Her words, broadcasted on night television, cause fear and discrimination against predators in Zootopia. There have been times in the film's history where someone makes comments that resulted in division among furries. One of the most notable events is the cancellation of Rocky Mountain FurCon. Back in 2017, there were comments that resulted in someone saying that we bring a weapon to the event. This resulted in the hotel increasing the cost of security, resulting in RMSC canceling for 2017. While the events were outside of control for the convention staff, it ultimately resulted in everyone losing. Racked with guilt, Judy switched to ZPD and returned home. There, she learns that the night howlers are actually the crocus bowls that Weaselton stole, which contain a non-toxic severe, lasting hallucinatory effects on mammals that cause them to turn savage. Judy returns to Zootopia, tearfully reconciling with Nick. With the help of Mr. Big, they interrogate Mr. Wilson, who admits that he was hired by a ram named Doug. They find Doug in a lab hidden in the subway, where he makes the night howler serum to shoot at predators with a dart gun. The two get the gun as the evidence, but before they can reach the CPD, Bellwether confronts them at the museum and reveals herself as the mastermind behind the prey supremacy conspiracy. Judy and Nick become trapped in the exhibit as Bellwether tries to infect Nick and summon the CPD. However, Nick covertly disabled the gun, replacing the serum with blueberries, with Judy recording Bellwether's confession just as the CPD arrives. Bellwether and accomplices are arrested, and Lionheart, still in prison, publicly denies of any involvement in the conspiracy, and insists that imprisoning the savage predator was the
wrong thing for the right reason. reason.
With the reason for the epidemic found and the infected predators cured, Judy rejoins the ZPD, and Nick becomes her partner as the first Fox police officer. The movie's final scene where Nick becomes the police officer is a first for him, and the fandom has also had a lot of firsts. I'm on due to the impact furries have made in the real world, with many charities at conventions donating money to good causes. There's also been charity promoted by furries against a homophobic neighbor, which I explained in a previous video. However, Turning Red takes what Zootopia has done and expands on it. One of the major conflicts of the movie comes down to Mei Li's ability to transform into a giant red panda. At first, she is scared of this and tries to hide it from her parents. However, after her mother inadvertently finds out about this ability at school, she explains the family curse and tells her not to transform in the future. Eventually though, as she promises her family she'll remain calm, she goes back to school, where she explains her red panda form to raise money for concert tickets. She goes from not liking her red panda form to using it to make money from kids who like it. This is the opposite of what her mother believed, as she thought it was dangerous and could hurt others. This is shown later on in the movie when May attacks Tyler after he insults her family. However, this usually doesn't happen, instead using it to bring joy to her classmates. Like May's classmates, people who don't have any other preconceptions about furries will likely think that fursuits are cool. Along this, the way May is portrayed as honoring her parents in whatever way she could can also give an insight into why people go furries. May is miserable and she tries to make her mother proud. However, when she's transformed to a red panda, she becomes what she is deeper inside. The plot revolves around the fact there's a deeper animal inside May, and throughout the story, she tries to be kind, ultimately succeeding at the end. I'm sure everyone, both furry or not, can relate to a side of themselves they don't share with others, whether it's rooting for a team, enjoying animations, or pretending to be an animal. May can transform to red Anna whenever she wants. There's a time and place for it. She doesn't transform when her mother's around in fear of disappointing her, but she does around her classmates to make them happy. The movie is about trying to find her true self, as the final quote states. Along with this is a criticism of conformity in society. People are told to believe, whether directly or not, to be normal. Now, in certain aspects of society, being normal is okay and sometimes expected. However, when this is taken too far, that's when it becomes dangerous. All these films explore furries, but they do so very differently. Zootopia features a world full of anthropomorphic animals and shows how it can cause tensions between certain groups of people. Turning Red, on the other hand, is in-depth about the human experience with furries and how they interact with the real world. By taking vastly different directions, you end up with the same conclusion of anthropomorphic animals in society. This leads to lasting impacts for folks that are furries and those who aren't. If you want to know how Turning Red relates to their fandom, check out how the ending explains furries.